What do you say to Jewish people who may watch this and be utterly horrified by what they're hearing?
They can be horrified.
Dan the man Bilzerian really showed up on the Piers Morgan show. The discussion happened 2 days ago, has racked up 2 million views and counting, over 33,000 comments, and regardless what controversial things Dan might have said, it looks like everyone watching and all the comments were in support. Let's start from the beginning.
Yahya Sinwar, the head of Hamas, was killed by the IDF. You were out lauding him as a hero. To most people, he's the despicable head of a terrorist organization that perpetrated on October the 7th one of the worst terror attacks in modern history. What's heroic about that?
Well, I think when you look at it in a vacuum, it's a very different picture. It's kind of like if I, raped your mother and I kicked you in the nuts 3 times and then you punched me in the face and everybody just wanted to focus on you punching me in the face. I think that would be a very different conversation than when you looked at it, the whole of what happened. And the whole of what happened was Nakba. That's where it started.
I don't think Piers or anyone was expecting this response from Dan. I just want everyone to pay close attention to Dan's body language too. He stays calm, cool, collective throughout the whole interview with Piers. Not once did he feel he need to rush or intervene or cut Piers off. Piers is not able to trigger Dan one bit. Instead, it's the other way around.
Israel kill 1,200 people in a single day and wound nearly 7,000.
Well, you have, Nakba, there was, 15,000 people killed during Nakba. There was Sabra and Shatila. That was 3,500 civilians. Then you have 2014, they killed 1,500 civilians. 500 plus were kids. So any one of those days would have been much worse than October 7th, but nobody really talks about
those
that.
Didn't happen in a single day.
And October 7th is not nearly as bad as what they say.
Well, those didn't happen in single days, as you know.
Well, you have, Sabra and Shatila, that was 3,500 people, so that was basically 7 October 7ths. And
I think it was at this point Piers kind of knew he wouldn't be able to trap Dan. He introduced Dan initially as someone who was known only for living a lavish lifestyle of women, cars and money, and you don't expect someone who's been living that lifestyle to have this much knowledge. Piers' hopes for an easy win, thrown out the window.
And October 7th, I think the numbers get inflated a lot too, because you're not taking into account that it was only 650 civilians, and there was the Hannibal Directive that was employed, and the Hannibal Directive is when the military is basically killing civilians so that they aren't taken as hostages. And that had to be hundreds of people, so I would argue that it was less than 500 civilians that were killed, and to me, that is much less than what the Israelis have been doing to the Palestinians.
But you said
even the year when October 7th happened, they had killed hundreds of Palestinians that year. It was the bloodiest year for kids. So that was a reply to what had been happening.
But when you say that October 7th wasn't as bad as people have said, what do you mean by that?
Did you notice that? I hope you guys noticed it. Dan makes an excellent point and puts a huge question mark on the number of innocents who died and the number of innocent people who died directly from the Israeli army who massacred their own people, and Piers completely brushes it to the side. He doesn't even entertain it. If you check out the original video, Piers does this with almost every one of Dan's comments.
Right, do you accept, Dan, that you are just blatantly anti-Semitic?
Look, I have an issue with that term. I think the real Semites are the Palestinians. The DNA test that they've done on the Israelis that are living over there, they're Eastern European Ashkenazi Jews. I don't even think they're actual Semites. They don't have ancient Hebrew DNA, which is why DNA testing is illegal in Israel.
But, you're literally denying their existence now. You are just a brazen anti-Semite, aren't you? You hate Jewish people, you hate Israel, you hate the state of Israel, its government, everything about it. You're blaming them you blame them in this interview for literally absolutely everything.
When you say, I think most of the problems today is caused by Jewish supremacy. I believe that.
I'm honestly gobsmacked that you would say all this publicly, given what a high profile you have.
Go on, Dan. I think you absolutely smashed this discussion. Well done for standing up for yourself and your beliefs. We, myself included, need to remember this is someone with a massive following, and you can tell he doesn't give a damn. He's standing up for his morals and what he believes is right, and for that, we give respect. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.